meeting to order. Those in attendance, please rise. Join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome all of our friends and neighbors and colleagues in joining us in this regularly scheduled August 1st, 2022 City Council meeting. If you're a guest with us tonight, as you come through those doors, which will be to my right and to your left, there's a sign-in sheet on the desk. If you're a guest with us tonight, please sign in. Would also like to make the audience and council aware and remember that our clerk has a huge election tomorrow. Our city staff has a huge election tomorrow that they're going to be very busy with all day. So if we could be respectful of their time and try to be as brief as possible, then that would be a good and courteous thing to do. City Clerk, can I please have a roll call?
Councilperson Soha?
Present.
Reiner?
Here.
Deere?
Here.
Worsey? Sharp?
Here.
Stucho?
Here.
Pratt?
Here.
Seiser?
Here.
Mayor Stockford?
Here.
8 present.
Thank you, Katie. We'll move into approval of agenda. City Manager, any council members have any changes to make to the agenda tonight? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Deere. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We've got an agenda. We'll move into public comment on agenda items only. During this time, the podium will be open. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please limit your trips to 1 to the podium. And please ensure, if you're commenting on something, that it has a direct tie to something that's present on the agenda tonight. Podium is now open. Seeing no public comment, we'll close the podium and move into the consent agenda. We've got approval of bills, city and BPU claims and payroll, July 14th, July 21st, City Council minutes of July 18th, TIFA minutes of May 17th, Planning Commission minutes of June 15th, TIFA Program Committee minutes of June 28th, Election Commission minutes of June 30th and July 14th, BPU minutes of July 12th, July 2022 Board of Review minutes, 1, 2, 3 Hillsdale College items, freshman convocation, source event street use agreement, and welcome party street use agreement. Hillsdale Community Foundation request to block parking spaces. Pub and Grub request for street closure and noise variance for an end of summer event. Farmers Market street closure agreement and ratification of signatures. The annual bow hunt within the city limits. And then 2 BPU items, an influent pump and a tertiary pump. Any discussion on any of the items in the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Veer. May I have a roll call, City Clerk?
Councilperson Reiner?
Yes.
Deere?
Yes.
Sharp?
Yes.
Stucho?
Yes.
Pratt?
Yes.
Seiser?
Yes.
Mayor Stockford?
Yes.
Councilperson Soha?
Yes.
8-0 approved.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, we will move into communications petitions. The first item is the Hillsdale train events. Let me catch up in my packet, but as you guys all know, the Fort Wayne Historic Train Company is working with the Northeastern Indiana Railroad to bring a historic passenger train into town. I believe the dates are August 27th, August 28th, and October 1st. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, when they sent me the initial flyer with the events, it said August 26th, August 22nd, and October 1st, so there is a highly shared flyer out there that has the wrong dates on it. So hopefully we can get those corrected in the public's mind so they know when the date actually is. I know there's a lot of people working on it. I know Gianna Green and Felicia Finch and Heather Trishka Stuchel are working to be a welcoming committee of sorts, and a lot of our businesses are gonna stay open late on that day. I mean, we're talking like 400 people to our downtown.
With
So
that, I do have a question for maybe for David. Do we have anything for the
police department for pedestrian traffic? I mean, cause you're getting from the train station to downtown could be a bit hazardous if we don't have a plan in place.
I will check with Scott
Okay.
when he's back. I'll also ask Kelly if she spoke to him.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Really exciting stuff though, could be, I mean, a huge weekend for our downtown businesses.
Absolutely.
Any discussion about that? And item number B, in communications petitions, BPU Roundup Program. It's my understanding we've got some community, action agency representatives with us tonight.
Good evening. My name is Toby Berry, and I'm the CEO of Community Action Agency, and I brought Laura Riem, who is the director of our community programs. We wanted to have an opportunity, if there were any questions that you might have, give you some information about the Roundup program and how we utilize it, and who is eligible for it. So I believe you all got a handout.
Yes.
Our eligibility, they obviously have to be a BPU customer, have to have household income levels at or below 200% of poverty, served once a year on a rolling year, although there are some exceptions that can be made. Right now, we do not utilize a cap or require a state emergency relief application. From October 1st of 2021 to 7/31/2022, so we're on a October 1st fiscal year, we've utilized $22,371 from BPU Roundup, provided assistance 45 times to 42 households, so 114 people, 46 children, 68 adults, with an average of 533 per household. Additionally, we utilized over almost $15,000 in other funding to pay BPU bills. So whenever we have an opportunity, if we have funding from other sources and people are eligible for that, we try to utilize those dollars so that our BPU dollars go farther so that we can serve more people in the community. We currently have $36,000 to assist BPU customers, and then we provided some historical information there from 2019 and 2020. Since 2009, we received just over $436,000 and spent just over $400,000 to assist BPU customers in Hillsdale. Are there any questions that you might have for us?
Anybody have any questions? What is this, program eligibility in SCR, what is that?
State emergency relief application, so that's with the Department of Health and Human Services at the state of Michigan.
Okay, so do households that are, trying to use this program, do they come directly to Community Action Agency, or do they go to
They come
Department of Human?
directly to us.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Soha?
Thank you for your explanation, but I think something that the public has really made clear to us is they would appreciate accountability. We couldn't find like how the money was spent. It appears there's no accountability there. And that's something that if there were a little more transparency there as to far how the funds are transferred from BPU to the account and how they're managed and allocated, that would be appreciated by our community. And then the other thing that was really spoken very adamantly was that it was not voluntary, and I appreciate it. I will continue to support the cause when the opt-out letter comes, but I think that was just a big point of contention, don't force me to be philanthropic. And so I would just appreciate, and I think they, in the letter, that they motioned for that, correct? That there will be an opt-out or something in a future bill?
Yes, that's correct. But they do not, this is the city's program, so this isn't their program to set up. This is established by state statute, which then in 2009, with the financial crisis, that's when this was established originally to help those folks who lost their jobs and the businesses that went out, ultimately with people losing their employment. And it's been in place since 2009. So there was a little bit of time in between, this going out. So they've had little to do with that end of it. They've just administered the funds. action, for the most part, needs to be handled on our
On
end.
BPUs.
Yeah, no, we appreciate what you guys do at the Community Action Agency for sure. And I understand very much that Board of Public Utilities and Community Action Agency are two separate entities. But I am curious, why, if we're gonna have a program like this, why does it have to be administered by a third party? Why can't BPU have the own discretion to make these decisions to decide?
Because we don't work with the folks at income levels or at poverty levels. We can't verify that information, they do all that third party. You know, we hear a lot of stories, it's hard for us to judge one way or the other, but the Community Action Agency works with these folks all the time, and they know all the processes in order to qualify. And
Yeah, and I think the other benefit, one, Community Action Agency doesn't get any money to do this program. There's no administrative fee, we don't
Okay.
charge BPU, there's nothing. The money comes in from BPU, and the money goes back out to BPU to pay for client bills. I think the benefit of having it with Community Action, is that clients can come in with this emergent need, but they may also have other needs that we can address through other programs that we have at the agency. So it's kind of a wraparound full service, where we can help citizens of Hillsdale.
Okay, but Board of Public Utility money is only used for the roundup.
Absolutely. Yep, and we can verify every dime that's come in and every dime that's gone out and every client that it's been used on. We have a database where we put all the information in and we track it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The contentious points were never about what Community Action Agency does, or your operations over there were never called into question. I think a significant enough amount of our residents in Hillsdale did not know that this program existed. They don't pay enough attention to their electric bill, they get it in the mail, they pay it, like most people do. They don't read through all the fine print.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people didn't even know this program existed. And the other huge point of contention was that it's an opt-out program. You automatically get enrolled in it. And, you know, even at the end of the line at the supermarket, you wanna round up your bill to give to Toys for Tots or whatever. And that is most certainly the ethical way to do it, so. And that has nothing to do with your operations, that has to do with our operations. So I hope you don't feel offended by questions being asked about it.
Nope, not offended at all.
Councilman Sharp.
First of all, I'd like to apologize for the word shady used to you guys. It wasn't used by me, and that was somebody I very much respect. That was his opinion. Back in 2008, I worked at Hillsdale Tool. I was let go. That was a job, I was there for almost 34 years, so I had to face up the life. Fortunately, I did not have to use you guys, but it was good to know that option was out there if it actually ever came to it. I think what you guys are doing is a great thing. I don't see any questionable things going on here, and I will continue to stay in the program too to round it up. If it'll help somebody in this community, I think it's a good thing.
Thank you, Bruce. Any more questions? Comments? Dave, you had something to add?
Yep, I was just going to, it's in the packet as well, it's in the BPU minutes, but after going through the program and working with staff, this is what the BPU board decided or motioned to do with this. Was motioned by Mr. Hotshire, supported by Ms. Howard, that the BPU continue the Operation Roundup program with the following changes. So every 3 years they're going to send out, every 3 years they're going to send out an opt-out form in the customer's utility bills. And then they have redesigned the website where the opt-out program is pretty prevalent. So anyone who goes there to set up a new account will see that. They're gonna do more further education about the program and how it operates by publishing the criteria and the eligibility, and then also do some work on statistical reporting of the program for the website, so that people can pull more information out than what's been in the past. In the past, there really hasn't been any information about how many people have benefited, how many dollars have been sent over. And how it's sent over is monthly, they receive a check from the BPU from the roundup. So for the previous month, CCA has sent the check, and you'll see that in the finance committee sees it in the reports, and it's in the council minutes, that they would receive a check for $2,500 for the previous month. So that's how it's handled. But these are the changes we're making. You can actually see the redesign of the website. It's pretty prevalent there, and explains the whole process. And again, we're also going to send out the forms every 3 years for those long-term customers who might want to change their giving if they like to. So those are the changes the BPU board has.
Those sound like really great changes in the name of transparency, I think. Any more discussion, Councilman Beer?
I'd just like to thank you guys for all the work that you do on behalf of the impoverished in this area. So, and I'll be honest with you, because I do read my literature, and I opted out a long time ago. So, but because of this current situation, I opted back in, because it's not that much money, and it goes to a good cause. So, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Toby,
Yeah.
have you guys seen an uptick in contact based on our current inflation and
Situation.
situation?
Yeah, we have a little bit. So I think during COVID, we saw a larger increase of people needing assistance with bills, and I think we kind of evened back out again over the last couple months, but we did see an increase.
Thank you.
Mhm.
What happens if all the money doesn't get used? It just stays in an account?
We roll it
It's just
over.
a rotating,
Mhm.
okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much, ladies,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Okay. We've got no introduction, adoption of ordinances, or public hearing tonight, so we will move into old business item A, transfer station purchase and sale agreement. David?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. As the summary states, this was something we discussed back in May and in June at council meetings, that we were approached by Modern Waste with the idea of purchasing the transfer station at 425 Carlton Road. If you recall, in June, we had a draft that we were working through with legal counsel and trying to finish the negotiation on. We have got that draft to a final state. That being said, we have a purchase price for the facility of $875,000 and a finalized purchase agreement. We do have Steve here from Modern Waste if you have any questions from them. But we do have, I believe it's 3 years left on our hauling agreement with them currently, and then I do know that they plan on trying to expand their business here in the transfer station. If you want to come up, Steve.
Good evening, Council. Hi, Steve, thanks for coming tonight.
No problem. Thanks for having us. No, we appreciate it. We appreciate this opportunity. Bought the Modern Waste from the previous owners about a year ago. 2 days from now will be 1 year. And believe we we've built a good relationship now with this community. And it's a pretty solid investment, as you guys just heard, in the business and ultimately back into this community. So we're excited about this opportunity, and we thank you very much for it. So appreciate it.
I think it's a pretty cool thing, and we're always happy to divest some of our municipal holdings that cost us money. The one thing I'm getting from residents a little bit, Steve, is a concern that if the city washes their hands of it, that Modern Waste then just has the autonomy to raise prices exponentially, and they won't have any other options.
No,
So can you address that, please?
yeah, understand the concerns. We do, business in a lot of small communities throughout this region now, and, we're trying to hold price as much as we can, given the current climate. And our intent is not to, gouge. We're here to run a fair and honest business, and, it'll continue to be our standard, so.
And I think it's important to mention, Mayor, that there is the Jefferson Township that has a transfer station as well.
They do.
It's probably easier, and that will keep them somewhat competitive for
It
sure,
will.
because they're not too far away, so if people think.
No, if you wanna compare price with them now, go ahead, and, I'm happy to say that, I know where their pricing's at, so. Good.
Councilman Sharp?
Yes,
Do
sir.
you anticipate any rate increases though the next 3 years, other than the fuel charge you're hitting us with?
At this point, no. I mean, obviously, I can't foresee anything, maybe some cost of living stuff, but, we're
Okay,
kinda-
so let's say, look, gas prices are starting to go down. Where do we draw the line and say, okay, now you can return it back to the customers?
Have you guys seen our, fuel energy, kind of the way we laid it out, based on the price of fuel? So everything's gonna be based on the price of fuel and how it fluctuates. So, I mean, we've been very open and transparent with how we're doing those, fuel surcharges.
Yeah, and that was in the last council packet. So
Right,
it did-
well, that was,
Yeah.
it was a thrill for a lot of people when they heard something else is going up. And it's just,
No, it is a concern. It's a concern with us too. You know, we
Absolutely.
employ a lot of people. We got well over 100 employees on our books too, and when diesel fuel goes from 2 something to over $5, I mean, that hurts,
Yeah.
right,
you know?
And I try to tell residents too that council really has nothing to do with the prices even now, even though the city still owns the transfer station. We don't, I've never used that as a bargaining tool we lease the property and,
the one point is, it's good that we're gonna get out of that liability of the area, once we sell it. It's been there for all those years, it's always been built you a new building and everything, which was part of the requirement, and it's working out good for everybody involved.
Yeah, we're very happy to.
Other than that, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yes,
Sir.
The mayor alluded last meeting that you had some expansion plans. Are you able to talk about that? or is
Nothing
that
immediate, nothing we've even put on a piece of paper, so it's kind of all up here right now.
Fair enough.
But, definitely gives us that capability, and, we'll see where the future takes us.
any more discussion? Any more questions for Steve while he's at the podium?
Oh, I will later. Not today, but we will talk soon.
Very good.
Thanks for coming tonight, Steve.
Yeah.
Any discussion at the council table? Motion to execute the documents and make the sale?
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Sharp, seconded by Councilman Soha. Can I have a roll call, city clerk?
Councilmember Beer,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
Stuchel,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Sizer.
Yes.
Mayor Stockford.
Yes.
Councilperson Sola,
Yes.
and Reiner.
Yes.
It's all approved.
Thank you, Katie. All right, we'll move into new business. Item A, certification of abandoned property for accelerated forfeiture act. I don't see Kim with us tonight. Alan, do you wanna? No. No? Well, Alan, you can get out of it real easy, just don't come to the council meeting.
I tried that,
Get them
you
next
told me
time,
I had
too.
to.
Yeah.
So do you have any questions?
So, why don't you tell them what, in effect, this.
So this is a resolution that is required, annually. The intent is to, when there is a known abandoned building where the owners have ceased paying, property taxes, no longer are maintaining the structure, or the property, and it is clear through attempted contact with the owners that they're not planning on continuing to be active with the property at all. Normally it would be a 3-year period where, they would cease to pay property taxes for 2 years, and then the county would, begin the forfeiture, the county treasurer would begin the forfeiture, process, and then in the 3rd year, they would actually, foreclose on the property. This allows the city to, speed that up by a year, so that the attempt is to be able to, take control of the property a year earlier and try and find a buyer that will be, the county would be able to sell it to, a property owner that would actually take care of the property. So the whole process stays the same, the only difference is it speeds it up by a year. So.
Okay. Any questions for Alan?
Any examples of us having used this expedited?
135 East South Street is a good example of that. You'd have to ask Kim as far as other properties.
That's fair. That's the old Hillsdale tool building.
Yeah. And that one was an unusual. Thankfully, it was an unusual case.
Yeah, and that one was abandoned
It was abandoned.
in the bankruptcy court.
Yeah, it went through bankruptcy court. There was actually an organization that was put in place to help clean up not only to keep the property maintained, but also to clean up the toxic spills that had occurred over the decades. And they ran out of money, and bankruptcy court said, okay, you're done. And so they stopped everything. They stopped maintaining, stopped paying taxes, everything. And we could have, and so this sped up our ability to get it turned over to the county so that it could go back on, so potentially it could go back on.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from what I've seen, the courts really will go out of their way and jump through hoops to protect people that won't pay or take care of the property. So I've seen it the last couple of years. I mean, they can't even evict people and they don't pay their rent for a year anymore. So it's just incredible. I've talked to so many landlords that just can't get rid of people when they won't pay. I mean, I'm going through something similar with my own house is the reason I bring it up. So my ex-house, I should say, my previous house.
Need a motion?
Yes, we need a motion to adopt the attached resolution.
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Sharp, seconded by Councilman Briner. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, we'll move into new business. Item B, set public hearing to declare a public nuisance. This is 36 Howder Street. Alan? Sorry, bud.
I was gonna tell him to stay up there.
This one I was much better prepared for. I don't know how many of you drove by to see the property, but it has been a property that has been a long-term code enforcement issue. When I started, there was a different owner. The previous owner passed away. The house was sold through an estate, and at the time of the sale, we instructed the new owner that until the property was brought into compliance, because there were multiple outstanding code enforcement violations, no one would be allowed to live there. And so the property was purchased, if I remember right, in the summer of 21. And in December of 21, we discovered that the owner had indeed moved into the property without bringing it into compliance. We notified her at the time, in January, that she would have 30 days to either bring it into compliance or vacate the premises, and then she could continue to work on the property, but she would not be allowed to live there. She did not move out on January 31st, and February 2nd, we issued a citation that went to the courts. The courts she did not show up for the court date, but, there was a default judgment that said she had 60 days to bring it into compliance or vacate the premises. And that was at the end of May. She still had not vacated the premises. And so, we've, since notified the court that she missed the deadline. And our next course of action, as far as the city is concerned, is to declare it a public nuisance. So that's where we're at. And so, this meeting is to ask you to set a public hearing to eventually, pass the resolution to declare it a public nuisance.
Okay, any questions? Bruce?
Thank God it's not on the ward, but yes, I drove by it quite a few times here recently, and it's,
Yeah, me too.
yeah, I can't believe somebody's actually living in there. I mean, if we actually could do an inspection, it'd be 69 Westwood Street all over. There'd be mold in that house, there's gotta be mold in that house. It's gotta be dangerous to live in. And it's, there's nothing about we're discussing, we need to do this.
You could mow the lawn at least,
Or cut the trees down,
Pick up the
whatever those are. But yes.
Okay, if this is the next step, then any more questions? Motion on the floor to set a public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Stuchel, seconded by Councilman Sharp. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, we'll move into new business item C, resolution proposed capital improvement bonds. Dave?
Thank you, Mayor. This is part of the Westwood project as well as water and sewer, as far as roads, water and sewer. In the summary, I outline all the items that are intended to be addressed with the issuance of this bond. As you recall, we've talked about this numerous times, the Westwood area infrastructure project was well over $4.5 million. The water and sewer departments have some additional needs as well. So the issuance of the bond, that process starts with this notice. So we have to pass a resolution to publish the notice of intent for the council to issue capital improvement bonds and to declare the intent to reimburse expenditures. That's for engineering and those type things. So this starts a 45-day process according to state statute, which is Section 517 of Act 34 of the Public Acts of 2001. That 45-day process gives the public an opportunity to review this information, and if they choose, they could petition with, I believe it's 10% of the electorate signatures to council and request that this go to a vote of the people. If that does not occur, then council can move forward with issuing the bonds for the Westwood project as well as the water and sewer capital improvements. The item, as it's outlined, spells out all those things pretty much in detail. And then we have the resolution and the exhibits.
Well, great. Gotta be a lot of people happy with Westwood and all those streets down there get worked on, including Councilman Zeiser, I'm sure.
It's bad.
Yeah, and at the last meeting, as you guys, the city engineer brought forward the special assessment component of this project, they kind of go hand in hand to make sure that, you know, we don't get too far with one and the other doesn't go, or vice versa, so that all the components of the project are approved and ready to move forward for next spring.
Councilman Sharp, of course.
You bet. What's the cost on this? Cause I'm reading $5,852,004.
Right. Yes, so that.
More than
that-
4 million.
Yeah, about 5,852,000 is the total amount, and that's the project and the water and sewer additional capital project. It has the resolution has a not to exceed of 6.5 million, and that's because in today's environment with inflation and costs of projects, we wanted to give ourselves some room just in case, you know, construction came in higher than we anticipated, even though we've been very conservative.
It is my ward, thank you too. And I've heard, it's really bad up there. It is.
One of those is your street, buddy.
No, Westwood Drive is, I live on Westwood
Oh, okay,
Street.
okay.
No, those are the beautiful homes up there, have a third world street. I mean, that's all there is
It's
to
really
it, it's a
bad up
third
there.
world street.
That may be the worst street in town.
Okay, Westwood Drive.
Yes,
Close. It's
Sumac,
close.
all that.
Yeah.
Old Catholic Avenue.
It's on the other side of the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
The other side of the railroad tracks.
It is.
Yeah, it is. yeah.
One of them is Councilman Sizer Street, though.
One of them.
Glendale, which is bad, but it's not as bad as Westwood Drive.
Well, you're
Westwood
used to
Drive
dodging the
Well, that's the
potholes,
next
I mean,
one
come on.
that's-
Yeah, when I'm biking around,
But it's bad.
it's really
Okay.
bad.
Good stuff.
So this just starts at 45-day window.
Right.
Okay.
To move forward.
All right, it's a resolution to acquire and construct capital improvements, to publish notice of intent to issue capital improvement bonds, and to declare office intent to reimburse expenditures with bond proceeds. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Sharp, seconded by Councilwoman Pratt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We will move into new business, item D, the last, item in new business, downtown social district. So I met a couple weeks ago with the, proprietors of the Pub and Grub, Hillsdale Brewery, the Dawn Theater, the Elks, and 55 Broad Street, and this is all their initiative. They want to see this happen. Since this became public, I was also contacted by the Hunt Club, who said that they wanted to be a part of it too. So we had already drawn the lines, and I don't think the Hunt Club was in that initial map. So,
I think they're.
are they?
Yep.
Okay, well, they want to participate too. Of course, there's voluminous bureaucratic things that have to be done at the state level for this to happen, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it comes to city council for us to vote on whether or not we wanna see this happen. So, I just wanted to bring it up here so I could kinda gauge where everybody is thinking about it, whether or not it's worth moving forward on. And honestly, Felicia Finch from the Hillsdale Brewery has been amazing with this. Like, she's done all the research, she's looked into how it works in Tecumseh, how it works specifically Tecumseh, Marshall, and Coldwater. She brought all the resolutions that they did, included them in the paperwork. Since that point, I also talked to the mayor over in Atrian to get a feel about how it works over there. All of our surrounding communities are doing the same thing. So it seems to be working out well for people. And so any discussion, Councilman Stuchel?
How often would this happen? I mean, it's not like every night, it's.
No, it would be up to us, and it would be up to us how much, and we could do it Fridays and Saturday nights, or we could do it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights.
So like every weekend during the summer or stuff, I mean, is
Yep.
that the thought?
Yep, that's kind of the thought, is,
In this, and if I may, Mayor,
Yeah,
there
please do.
are, and what I put in front of you was just some of some information that I got on the Ludington Social, District as well, and how they operate theirs. So typically, what happens is there's a particular cup that these establishments have to use, and it has to have a sticker on it according to the state. And the city council has to approve the district, and it goes to the state, and those that use those cups for folks to drink beverages in the district also have to apply for a permit. I think it's $250 to the state. So anyone walking within the district, if they're having an adult beverage, they would have this cup that has it's readily disguised, able to disguise it, or not disguise it, but
Discern it.
Discern it, yes. Discern it, and then they could not take one cup from one establishment. I read this today. You can't take your cup from Hillsdale Brewing and go in to the pub and grub with that cup, you have to stay in the common area, which is out on the street or sidewalk. Just based on the state statute, which is kinda odd to me, but that is one of the requirements. So there are a number of requirements, but we've gotten management plans from other cities, how they do it. And, like the mayor said, we've got 3 or 4 that we can work from and, look at bringing something forward if council would like to.
I'm just really excited that all of our downtown restaurants and businesses, and now with the Dawn, that they all wanna work together, and I think that's really exciting.
I just gotta echo, I did get a few emails on the negative side. They're
I did
concerned-
too. I got a
Well, I
couple.
mean, they're concerned about trash, they're concerned about having a drunk fest, how do you police it, so those type of things.
And that has to be part of your plan you submit to the state. In fact, it's in the Ludington information, it has their management plan. One of the things they do is they actually run it through their DDA, which is like our TIFA. Basically, the businesses buy the cups through the DDA there, and there's a fee, and then they use that fee for the additional trash pickup, for the signs and the policing of the district, so they kind of
pays for
self-fund.
itself. Okay, good.
Hey, yeah, let's do that.
We wanna make the town vibrant, there's another way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's weekend evenings. It's not,
Well,
I don't,
you look at Hillsdale right now on Friday and Saturday nights at 6 o'clock. Looks like Dodge City dead at night. I'm not picking on the business, but you down there's nothing going on really in Hillsdale.
And we all live here too, none of us want trash or a
No,
drunk
we
fest,
don't.
so, right, exactly, none of us would want that,
throw a
so-
baseball from the downtown and hit my house.
Right,
I'm
right,
there,
right,
you know?
right, so we have every incentive to
Like I said,
maintain this.
After the parade, I saw trash cans overflowing, but everybody made their.
But they made
Yeah,
their
it was,
way
I
over.
think that most of the people really did a nice job keeping the cities clean.
Councilman Soha?
So I tend to like the idea. I did get, in a conversation with Rick Tropiano, he would appreciate being included in it. If we could maybe make the Bobby's Trail an extension of it.
It's gonna be tough to pull that into, I mean, it really,
How about a tent for him?
cause then we gotta make El Cerritos part of it, and then you
Well,
got
why
people
not?
walking.
Why not have a tent for him? Something to include him into the zone.
Well, let's have the committee by proxy contact Rick and see if there's some way to work into that.
And you could have multiple districts,
I just
his
don't like-
location could be a little
Yeah,
far.
when you start getting in a car, I think you're going the line.
Yeah, that's
You know.
not what we're,
Yeah,
But we can talk to him about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
He would appreciate that.
You're one of those pedal cars. With bars on pedal, they can pedal from bar to bar. Good idea.
The only reason
Good
I thought
idea,
it
though.
was even a plausible
Good idea, man,
space.
good idea.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, yeah, no, I talked to somebody, I talked to a guy that does, carriage rides. And if we do this, he wants to come downtown with a horse and carriage on those nights and
You've got
carriage
him in
people
trains
around,
here.
so,
You've got him in the trains here.
yeah.
And-
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, and Mayor, just so everyone knows, my office through Kelly Lepresto has been working with that group.
Awesome.
So she's been part of all those discussions as well.
Councilman Beer?
I'm just kinda curious, so how would you, as far as on the social district, so you could buy it, within a container, and like the pub and grub, and you can wander down the street with that container? Is that what and then we would decide where those common areas are?
Mostly what I've seen in these, the common areas is basically the sidewalk.
Yeah, there's sidewalks and crosswalks,
Okay.
so. Councilman Brenner?
I was in Ludington last week. As far as this goes for the social district, it's mainly used for big events and stuff like that downtown. So like the foodie walk would be a good one to be able to buy a beer at the Hunt Club and then go and get food from each location. So it's, something, but it's not gonna be like, hey, it's just a normal Friday night and people are out wander in the streets and doing crosswalk or walks with beer in their hand, you know, and you can't take them in other establishments, so it's more or less for, like, if we do something downtown, that there's a social district where you can walk outside and have your beer outside, so I think it's a good idea. I don't think people will abuse it, so, I mean, I was up there and I didn't see anybody abusing it up there, so.
Other than you?
Other than me, yeah.
And we can revoke it at any time. And then I think the legislation actually sunsets in 24 unless it's extended.
Yeah.
It was a COVID idea.
Yep, it was. It's a very recent development, but, you know, we've got, I mean, you guys know, we've got so many people right now working on trying to bring the downtown back to life, and it's a good, I just like seeing so many people wanna work
Yep.
together, honestly, so. I think if they wanna do this, I'm all in support of it, so, we don't need to vote on anything tonight, but we can continue to move in that direction and try to not get weighed down by the pure paperwork and. All right. Any more discussion? Okay, well, we'll move on. We've got no miscellaneous reports at all, so we'll go into general public comment. During this time, the podium will be open. Please limit your trips to one to the podium. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, and during this time, you may speak on anything your heart desires. Podium's now open.
Good evening, council. So I just wanted to throw something out here, speaking of evictions and extended court dates. How is a felon on active probation allowed to hold a seat in this council? I just wanted to throw that out there. Adam, you have my support. As far as the downtown district, I find it comical for the Hope House to be, you know, erratical and nuisanceful, and then we have a bunch of drinking people and it's totally acceptable because they're spending money. Anyway, I thought I'd throw that out there. I'm all for getting that money though, I guess, if you feel that that's the way you wanna do it. But my main thing to say tonight was I'm glad that the BPU people came in here and explained that the money had been allocated, not abused and not used, and that was my main objective, you know, to figure out what exactly was going on with our money or other people's money to say that, and to bring up my concerns about a active probationary felon taking a seat in a town where we just went through COVID and we went through an extended amount of time where nobody was working, and I just feel like that's threatening. So, thank you all for being here. I hope that made sense.
Thank you, Carla.
Yep.
Any more public comment?
Yeah, Reverend Dennis Wingscott. I'm using that because what I'm asking tonight is the night before election, and I posted out there on Facebook and different places about call of the 11th hour, and what I'm asking each and every one within the sounding of my voice that's in this room, those that can hear me on the internet, that at 11 o'clock that you pray for our election. We don't need anything else to happen like happened in 2020. We need God-fearing, God-loving people with wisdom and knowledge to run our governments, to run our boards, and we need people out there that are willing to pray for each and every one. And I'm asking you and everybody else that can hear me to, at 11 o'clock, pray for our upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Any more public comment?
Hi, good evening, councilmen and women. How are you this evening? My name is Lisa Wallace. I'm a Hillsdale County resident. I've lived in Moscow Township pretty much my entire life. I am running for Hillsdale County Road Commission. If anybody has any questions later after the meeting, I will be more than happy to tell you how I stand on things. and the concerns and issues that I feel that very needly to be addressed. Hillsdale County residents deserve better roads, period. I truly believe we pay enough fuel tax, we pay enough registration fees, we deserve better roads. I don't think it's an issue anymore that we want to tolerate. I just put my hat in to run for this. Personally, it was the right time for me. I have 8 years of construction background, 2.5 years of underground experience. I worked my way from the bottom up. I'm probably the only nurse that I know that can run a backhoe, has a CDL Class A. I went back to school again, got a business management degree from Spring Arbor University. I'm a Republican conservative, and I want better for our community, and now was the time, now that my children are grown and my youngest is in college, it was the time for me to get involved, and I had the time to dedicate to do this. I've been diligently going to township meetings, going to the road commission meetings, getting involved, getting informed, and hearing what people have to say, and I appreciate what people bring to me, and I hope that I can make a change for Hillsdale County. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Any more public comment? Seeing none, we'll close the podium. Sorry, I just couldn't get up. Well, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and the folks. Good evening to you. You know, there's homeless prevention. We got to start looking at it. You know, you mentioned earlier about the Community Action Agency, you know, receiving of funds. I was just talking with them out in the hallway. I was very concerned about where this is going to lie, especially when we're going to start looking at this new, I'm talking about as being BS tax. This tax for the senior center is outlandish and idiotic. On the other hand, just to see where it's going to land at, this kind of money is unnecessary. I did want you to kind of look at was the Lithium Watkins. That issue came up. That was under the coronavirus issue. There was a lot of people that were not fed. Excuse me, I want to make sure I shut this thing off. Thank you. And so a lot of people were denied hospitalization and such. And under the Lithium and Watkins came up, and it is across the United States, it's $1.9 trillion that was given. So that's something of interest. The other was Mr. Socha, is that correct? Thank you for listening. I want to add that to you. Thank you. And this gentleman over here is Stuchel, pardon me. I was there the evening. I was going to make mention to you. I don't know how sensitive the skin is on Jack, but I was there. The other is, as far as what's going on with the issue with the county, I don't know where that's going to go to as far as wanting to put the circuit court, this new circuit courthouse together, taking it all the way down, or it's just going to be a certain portion. They dreamt around the $4.6 million that the county just got in new monies, and possibly apply that, which is for the upper Bell area and the clock and so on. And again, I don't see $10 million, which is what their range is, to actually do the whole building. I think that's wrong. I'm all for trying to get a building for all three of the judges, and I think that this annex building could possibly be removed, and we could put a two-story there with this $4.6 million. And I'm all for them getting this done, but they have dragged their feet at that county for this money, and I think it's necessary to get it done. So first off, thank you very much for listening, and Ms. Socha, I do thank you for that. First of all, thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Any more public comment?
Good evening. Tomorrow is a big day, August 2nd, Tuesday, primary election day. And while I am running unopposed, I am very excited and am looking forward with eager anxiety, anticipation for a good result. I have worked hard to earn votes, to be reelected, and I certainly do look forward to getting through tomorrow, getting through November, and serving again for another 2 years. So thank you very much. And go vote. Please vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any more public comment? Seeing none, we will close the podium and move into the city manager's report. Dave?
Thanks, Mayor. Just a few things I want to mention. As you have in front of you, we do have an internet meeting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. If any of you would like to attend, we have a representative from Merit that will be there to talk about maybe improving, yes, it's in this room, improving our internet access. Also for Bruce, we do have the sound system equipment ordered, so it's on order. We're hoping probably in August, September, we're able to install it and get the sound corrected here with, of course, supply issues, particularly electronics and chips. It has caused a little bit of issue, but we are working with Playford's Music on this. So we have that equipment ordered and should be getting this resolved soon. As everyone has indicated, the election is tomorrow. Katie had indicated to me that she had issued 463 absentee ballots, which is a pretty good number, and then she's already received 381 of those back, and then has another 82 yet to receive. So that's 463 folks who are voting. So that is pretty good just for absentees compared to where we used to be a number of years ago before COVID. If anything positive, it has promoted that, getting more votes in the system. Hopefully they're good votes. That being said, this Friday we do have the Summer in the City here downtown, and that's from 4 to 8. So the car show and other events on that evening. And as part of that, after that, the BPU has the movies in the park at 9:45 at Stocks Park. They'll be showing Clifford the Big Red Dog for young ones. And on Saturday, the Will Carlton Farm Festival is going on from 10 to 3. So it's a busy weekend coming up. And lastly, just to report on the activity at the airport and the fuel. So last year, for the month of July, we sold about 2,238 gallons of jet fuel. This year, we've sold over 2,800 gallons of jet fuel, so that's gone up. And then last year, we sold 962 gallons of just regular low lead plain fuel. And this year we've already sold, or that month, July, we've already sold twice that, of 1,850 gallons of low lead fuel. So the airport continues to do very well and proceed to cover itself out there. So with that, Mayor, that's all I have. If there are any questions, Bruce?
We'll start with the Myers. What else has you've heard from Myers other than I seen the water department was out there by Bex and some fiber optics or cable guy was out there too one day, kind of walking the path. So things are going good so far?
Yep, they're moving forward with the design and engineering of all the infrastructure, the water, particularly because they've agreed to upsize that. They're also had to move those electric poles, and they're taking care of that. I think the hope is that some of this activity can happen later this fall and potentially move forward with construction next year.
Crystal Ball says when they'll open anytime?
I don't know the answer.
24?
But it will probably be that time if things continue to move forward the way they are.
Road work, that was another question I had.
What was that?
Linwood Street and all that, that's still on schedule for this month?
Yep.
Chip seal.
I don't know
Norwood
what-
Street was one I was really concerned with. Norwood Street itself, that was one of the streets we were gonna chip seal. With school coming and getting closer and closer, or is it gonna make the timeline, or is it gonna be?
I'm not sure on that, Bruce, because that, for this year, that would be a question when Kristen gets back, next week. But, as part of that chip seal project, part of it was funded through a grant.
Right.
So we haven't received notification of that grant yet, but, I anticipate that will be later here this summer.
Yeah, I'm just concerned with school getting closer and closer. We do that, then you're gonna create a big mess on that street.
Yeah, we're cognizant of that, yeah, trying to not create problems.
That's what I have.
Any more questions for Dave? Council comment? Anybody have anything to share? Councilman Brenner?
Just, when Mr. Mackey was talking about the airport, I just wanna put out there that the fly-in breakfast that the Exchange Club puts on, and then the fly-in, that the city handles, their side of that, is September 11th this year. It's a Sunday. The breakfast will be going from about 7 a.m. to probably 11 or noon. And then the actual fly-in is from 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. We'll have the Huey helicopter out there again this year, giving rides, and then we'll have another airplane and another helicopter out there. And usually we have a cruise in, so it's a good time. It's a free event, just to come to look at the airplanes. Breakfast itself is $7 for adults and $4 for children. So if you do want to have breakfast, you can. All those funds go to help the Exchange Club do things in the community. And then, like I said, the fly-in itself is a free event to actually go in and look at the airplanes that fly in. So last year, I think we had a pretty good turnout last year for airplanes, so we're buzzing over there.
It was a really awesome event last year. Yep, Summer in the City is Friday, 4 to 8, downtown, car show, all that stuff, so.
Farmers Market's doing well.
Yep, farmers.
They were actually in the
market's
parking lot this last Saturday, which was a shock, because they didn't have the material, so they got to go back in the parking lot. But make sure you get out there and support the people, community on Saturday.
Yeah.
Get to talk to people. There were some very interested people there. I mean, got some good stories to tell.
Sure. Will Carlton had, the poorhouse, Will Carlton Poorhouse has something this weekend, right? Sunday? Saturday?
10 to 3.
10 to 3, okay.
So get your cookies and go to Will Carlton.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. So, Councilman Briner reminded me, the Halter Shooting Center, I don't know if you're aware, but the last 4 weeks has had an international competition with hundreds of shooters, including the United States shooting team. And people have come from over 6 countries to compete there. And the U.S. shooters are actually competing to be on the national team. And it's just something we ought to consider, because they had RVs parked out there. They had people that drive in with RVs that couldn't find a place to hook up. They were struggling there, so they were parking in people's yards and stuff that were being very generous. But we have a real wonderful facility out there. It's world renowned. It's going to get bigger and bigger as time goes on. And I think we should just keep that in the forefront of our mind and be in communication with them, so when these events happen, maybe we could take better advantage of having all these people from 6 different countries here for a month. And those things are just going to increase over time, as I understand.
Kiefer House was for.
It's one of the reasons, absolutely. But and then the other, if I may, as far as the farmers market, the city ran out of barricades because we have so many road projects going on right now, and so the farmers market, thankfully this week it didn't work, but they were scrambling trying to find barricades. So it might be something for us to consider if we have some set aside that we could rent for those type of projects, or just have available when, like Kevin is doing his thing at the pub or the farmers market. Because as I understand it, they're going to petition us here at the next meeting to actually close Howell instead of and have Howell in front of all the businesses be where the farmers market is. So.
All right, very good, Councilman Soha.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Sharp, seconded by Councilwoman Pratt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. This meeting's adjourned.